This is AEP's 855 Module 1 intro video. My name is Caitlin Meyer. Here is some personal background. I have a bachelor's in pure mathematics. I am working on my master's in education along with the T2T program. I have two amazing, lovely dogs. I've been married for 1 year and I've lived in Topeka, Kansas my whole life. So currently as a work environment, I am a high school mathematics teacher. I teach mostly sophomores and juniors, integrated math 2 along with honors integrated math 3. This is my second year teaching at Shawnee Heights High School, and I hope to further my education through them. So the three mindsets are: all students can learn and grow, social capital and teamwork will always outperform individual talent, and happiness is a choice. I completely agree with this research, as I have been currently working on this through my school district on professional development days. We've been working on social emotional learning and making sure that all students can learn and grow at whatever pace they need to go from. The 5 dispositions are confidence, risk-taker and decisive, sense of humor, empathetically assertive, and learner. Having these dispositions as a teacher makes for a more inclusive classroom and a positive environment. And then students are also allowed to see that these attributes help them learn how to use them in their future adult lives and or current lives. The 3 practices are focus and prioritizing, examining feedback and data, and emotional intelligence. Practicing acknowledging personal feedback and coworker feedback really allows for teachers to grow in their leadership abilities, because that shows a need for learning and the ability to reflect on one's own self. I believe emotional intelligence to be the best practice ever, because it is a huge piece in teaching high schoolers, because you're either going to learn to inspire them as much as possible, or you're going to leave a very nasty impression and they will do absolutely nothing for you. The 8 principles are personal courage, public interest ahead of self, self-control, self-discipline and integrity, task and employee centeredness, recognizing talent, requiring high ethics from everyone, sensitivity and understanding, and inclusiveness. I believe these principles to also be a great way to practice being a better educator, because it allows for students to see principles that are going to be utilized throughout society and in their real lives. And then I believe public interest ahead of self is probably one of the biggest principles currently right now in today's society. Personally, on mindset, I have always believed that all students can learn and grow, always. I have seen many students find a spark that allows them to learn and gives them a way to better themselves. Even if it isn't a solid A, they have found a niche and they are working on that C. They know how to learn. Unfortunately, what I need to work on is happiness and choice, is a choice. I struggle personally with depression, and I know a lot of my students do as well, but also along with anxiety attacks. They have a lot of anxiety attacks lately due to real world scenarios and life. So I've always am happy during work, and they never know that I'm never happy, but I need to personally work on it in my life outside of work, and I would trying to talk to students about showing them that happiness can be a choice. Disposition critique is I have always had a sense of humor. Students will relate to educators a whole lot better if you acknowledge their jokes instead of just reprimanding them immediately or continue to joke back. I feel confident in utilizing all of the dispositions, but there is always room for improvement. In teaching practices, I work the hardest on emotional intelligence because I love to relate to my students and get them excited about learning math. So I find interest that I can utilize in lectures that they're like, oh, hey, we talked about that last week. I love doing that. But what I really need to work on is focus and prioritizing. I try to accomplish everything at once because I am a go-getter and try and do as much as possible, instead of just seeing what is the most important and working on that. So I am working on focus and prioritizing. Principles, I try my hardest to hear out a student. Could have talked to them last hour or the day before, but I always try to hear out a student every class period. about some personal life situation or something that might be bugging a student or who broke up with who, just so that they have a release of emotions. I've had many students throughout my 2 years of teaching just come up to me and let everything out. And when I mean let everything out, we both may be crying. So I try and just talk a little to all my students about their lives, so that way it's not a full blowout rather than just, hey, some stuff's going on. I feel like knowing this information also helps me understand characteristics of certain students, about why they're acting out or why they're no longer working for me. And it makes me also come back and realize I should have no judgment over them until I have heard their whole story or understand that something may be occurring. So I believe sensitivity and understanding is what I am currently best at in the principles. So I believe the answer to how does all of this support the educational success and well-being of each student and adult is this supports teachers in understanding students the most, specifically their behaviors. It allows us to adapt to student needs, along with it showing students, hey, we are adults, let's give them a great role model for us to believe in. So it recognizes these attributes for hopefully their future adult selves. Here is my references from Lynch M and Moore B. Thank you.